What is up guys, it's Cal, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some epic quests that were once in World of Warcraft, but are no more. I made a video like this before about Benediction and Rock'Delar for the Priest and Hunter respectively, so I'm going to be talking about two different classes that had specific epic quests back in vanilla, and then were promptly removed with the release of Cataclysm. Always ruining the fun. Also, these quests might be something to look forward to when Classic WoW comes along, whenever that might be. I don't know, we don't really seem to be getting many updates on it anymore, but anyways, let's get started. Paladins. The Alliance class back in vanilla. The only races who could be paladins back then were humans and dwarfs, and there were definitely advantages to them. Not only were they one of the most versatile classes in the game with their damage in conjunction with their heals, they also got a free mount. Sort of. Back then, there were level 40 mounts and level 60 mounts, with level 40 training and level 60 training. The level 40 mounts originally costed 90 gold and the skill was 10 gold, then the level 60 mounts were 900 gold and the skill was 100 gold. They were then later reversed, having the mounts 10 and 100 gold, and the skills being 90 and 900 gold respectively, and these prices were not easy to manage back then. But Paladins had a big advantage in this regard because the mount, along with the skill, were free to them. The level 40 quest to acquire their mount just had them talk to an NPC in Stormwind, then they got the mount and the training along with it. Then when they reached level 60, they had to go on a much longer quest chain to acquire their charger mount. The quest started in Stormwind with this NPC named Lord Grayson Shadowbreaker. Then that quest led to Ironforge to High Priest Rohan, where you had to give him 150 gold. Already more expensive than the mount itself. Rohan would then give you this sensor and would tell you to bring the sensor back to Lord Shadowbreaker, the first dude you saw, to learn how to use the item. Shadowbreaker would send you on a quest to the Eastern Plaguelands city of Terradale and use the sensor on multiple spirits there. Then you brought the sensor back to Grayson Shadowbreaker. He then told you that the charger needs armor because you're going to face a Death Knight with it. So that's your job, to buy the equipment to arm the charger with. You had to go to Grim Elmore in the Dwarven district of Stormwind to construct the charger's armor. This is the expensive part of the quest chain. Grim Elmore would need 150 gold from you, 40 runecloth, 6 Arcanite bars, 10 Arthas's Tears, and 5 Stratholme water. The runecloth wasn't too difficult to get, it dropped from any level 51 to 60 humanoid in Azeroth. The ogres in Deadwind Pass were a normal strategy used to farm runecloth. The Stratholme water also wasn't too difficult to acquire. You just need to get a group together to venture into the Stratholme dungeon, where there would be crates along the sides of the streets that contained the water. You would have to let your group know that you needed the water for a quest though, since the water was useful in expediting the dungeon, so your group members would pick it up if you said nothing. Now the Arthas's Tears could be purchased on the auction house like any of these items except the Stratholme holy water, or it could be herbed in places like Western or Eastern Plaguelands, Razorfen Downs, or even Fellwood. Then the 6 Arcanite bars, definitely the most difficult thing to acquire of the list. You could buy these off the auction house, although they were very expensive back then, so a lot of the times it was better to farm the mats for them. These were acquired by alchemists transmuting an arcane crystal and a thorium bar into an arcanite bar, and this was on a 20-hour cooldown for alchemists, so a lot of the times you had to pay the alchemists to do such a task, unless you had a friend who was willing. This was until patch 2.4 where the transmute cooldown was removed. Arcane crystals had a rare chance to be mined from thorium, rich adamantite, and corium veins, and then thorium bars were smelted by miners who had thorium ore, which was of course mined from thorium veins. Once you acquired the 40 runecloth, 6 Arcanite bars, 10 Arthas's Tears, 5 Stratholme holy water, and the 150 gold you have lying around, you would return to Lord Grayson Shadowbreaker for your next task. This quest has already racked up at least 300 gold on your bill. Shadowbreaker then gives you a quest called Ancient Equine Spirit, which tells you that there's a horse spirit in Dire Maul that you need to feed, but before you head there, you need to pick up the special horse feed which is made by Meredith Carlson in South Shore. Meredith gives you a quest called Mana Enriched Horse Feed, where she tells you that in order to make the horse feed, she needs some enriched mana biscuits, which are sold by the Argent Dawn Quartermaster for a little over 2 gold. You also need to be friendly with the Argent Dawn to buy these. Then you go back to her, and then she gives you the horse feed, but of course charges you for it. 50 gold, which brings the price of this quest to 352 gold. Now it's time to go into Dire Maul West with a group, and you fight your way to the first boss, Tendrous Warpwood. After you kill him, a spectral horse will appear which you give the feat to. After a bit, you're able to put the bard that Grim Elmore crafted on his back. The bard becomes blessed and the horse vanishes. Then you return to Grayson Shadowbreaker. He then tells you that you're almost done, but to finally get the horse, you need to sacrifice an Azerothian diamond and a pristine black diamond, both rare diamonds. The Azerothian diamond has a rare chance to come from thorium and rich thorium veins, and the pristine black diamond was probably even more rare and had a chance to drop from elite mobs at least level 55 and up. Both could be of course purchased on the auction house, but for a hefty amount of gold. Now you turn both of those into Grayson, and you're on the final part of the quest, where you have to defeat the Death Knight known as Dark Reaver. You had to fight your way to the basement of Skullomance with a group of people to use this new item you had, the Divination Scryer, Once used, it summoned the level 62 Death Knight Dark Raver for your group to kill. If you wiped on the fight, then you had to leave the instance, reset it, and clear to that room again. The fight wasn't horribly difficult as long as you had a lot of stuns, so bringing multiple pallies and or a rogue was a plus. And then once he died, you got your level 60 charger mount along with the level 60 training. It just costed you 352 gold and many expensive and rare materials that you had to farm for. Sadly, this quest chain was removed with the release of Cataclysm. Similar to Paladins, the Warlocks had a class mount that was free-ish. Same deal where the level 40 mount was given from a simple quest and free, then the level 60 mount you had to go through a much longer process. The level 60 Warlock quest to unlock their Dreadsteed is gotten from demon trainers in Orgrimmar, Ironforge, Stormwind, or Undercity. This quest will direct you to the human Warlock named Merzul, Bloodbringer at the Altar of Storms and Burning Steps. He's the one where you ultimately learn where to summon your Dreadsteed from, so he sets you forth on a long quest chain to do so. First, what Merzul asks of you is to bring him 30 bottles of Raging Beast blood. Now for this blood, you had to travel to Winterspring and it dropped from the owl beasts there. Merzul then packed the blood into a case and you had to bring it to his goblin servant, Gorziki Wildeyes, in the Burning Steps. You then had to purchase a potion for 6 gold from Gorziki called a Shadowy Potion, and you wanted to buy a couple of them. This potion made you friendly with the demons inside Jadenar, which was located in Felwood. So from Burning Steps, you had to travel to Felwood, to Jadenar, use the potion, and go through the labyrinth. It was quite the maze, and you had 20 minutes before the potion wore off, so you wanted to make sure you didn't mess up. At the end of this labyrinth was the Dreadlord known as Lord Banehollow. Banehollow wanted you to travel to the Shadowhold in Felwood and kill the Orc Warlock known as Olathek, and retrieve his heart. You would bring his heart back to Banehollow and use another Shadowy Potion if you had to. Then Banehollow would tell you about some Stardust his servant sells, which could take you to another domain to capture your trusted Dreadsteed. Banehollow's servant, Erdan, would then sell you some Xerothian Stardust for 150 gold, and then you would take the Stardust back to Gorziki Wildeyes. Now a few more materials need to be gathered before this portal could be opened, so Gorziki then offers you a few more quests. The quest Bell of Deathmora would have you gather 2 elixirs of shadow power. These elixirs could be made by alchemists for 3 ghost mushrooms each elixir, which are found in places like the Hinterlands, Razorfen Downs, Moradin, and Diremall, or you could buy them on the auction house. The quest Wheel of the Black March would have you gather 25 dark iron ore and 6 large brilliant shards. The dark iron ore could be mined from nodes in Molten Core, Blackrock Depths, Burning Steps, and Searing Gorge, and then the large brilliant shards could be gathered from disenchanting items level 56 to 65, or all of it could be bought on the auction house. The quest Doomsday Candle had you gather 3 dragon scales for Gorziki. These dragon scales could be skinned from any black dragonkin in Burning Steps, or the raids Upper Blackrock Spire and Blackwing Lair, or it could be bought off the auction house. Then after those 3 materials were completed, Gorziki wants an Arcanite bar. So you retrieve that however you see fit, which was mentioned earlier, and then the quest Imp Delivery had you take an imp in a jar to an alchemy table in Scholomance. Then you let the imp loose, he jots down on some parchment paper, and you return to Gorziki Wildeyes. And then finally you had to head to Diremall West where Merzul Bloodbringer was residing. To get into Diremall West, you needed someone with a crescent key to unlock the door, which was retrieved from chasing the imp Pusilin through Diremall East, or a rogue can lockpick the door open. Once inside, you find Merzul, who hands you a book. He then tells you that you have to purchase GV's jar for 150 gold, Black Lodestone for 50 gold, and Xerothian glyphs for 50 gold, all from Gorziki Wildeyes. He may be a goblin warlock, but he is a goblin, so he isn't giving you anything for free. After you have those items, you have to head into Diremall West, and you have to clear the dungeon, meaning you have to defeat the final boss in Multhar, since you're using the circle he's imprisoned in as a summoning circle. Once Multhar is dead, you want to activate the GV's jar. The imp will jump out of it and set up a bell, a wheel, and a candle, which Gorziki awarded to you after completing those 3 gathering quests earlier. After those 3 items are set up, a gauntlet of demons will spawn. The 3 items set up will help you, however. The bell will restore 150 health and 150 mana to any warlock in the group. The wheel absorbs 100 points of damage from every hit you take, and the candle damages all enemies for 250 every second. A bunch of imps will spawn to attack you, but they can be pretty much ignored because of the candle. They also don't do much damage because of the wheel. So then your party will want to focus on the Dread Guards, which there's about 10 of. The Warlock doing the quest, however, wants to focus most of their attention on the bell, wheel, and candle, which will need recharging throughout the fight. Recharging them requires the Black Lodestone, which you purchased, but also recharging an item costs a soul shard. So Warlocks need to make sure they had a hefty supply of soul shards prior to starting. Also recharging them was a 3-second cast time and was interrupted by any damage, so you needed a group who was good at keeping aggro off of you. The entire gauntlet takes about 6 minutes to complete. At this point you can rest and heal up, because the next part doesn't start until you activate your Xerothian glyphs. Once you do so, it will open up a portal which will summon a Zerothian Dreadsteed that your group needs to kill. Once the Dreadsteed reaches 50% health, Lord Helnurath will spawn since he doesn't like people stealing his horse, because that's basically what you're doing. So your group has to kill him as well. Once both of those targets are dead, you can talk to the Dreadsteed and its soul will bound to you, teaching you the level 60 mount training along with the Summon Dreadsteed ability. And that's it. That is how level 60 Warlocks got their level 60 mounts, bringing the chain to a grand total of 406 gold at least, and some materials that you had to farm or buy off the auction house. And there you have it. Those are 2 epic quests that were once in the game but are no more, sadly. I do enjoy quests like this, ones with unique rewards, costed lots to finish, both monetarily and time-wise. Blizzard should make more of these, honestly. But if you play back in vanilla, or even played prior to Cataclysm, and you remember these quests, then you could leave it in the comments below. I'm honestly curious as to how many of you are still out there. Or if there were any epic quests that you remembered back in the day that led to some epic rewards, then you can let me know of that as well. But if you guys like this video, then you can leave a like on it, sub to the channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.